This is one of the strangest wild card weekends ever, mainly because the road teams all have better records or equal records to the teams that are hosting these games. The Saints game at the Seahawks is the one mismatch this weekend. Sure, the Saints are being bothered by a few injuries. They lose Pierre Thomas, their main running back. They've already lost Chris Ivory, who was his main replacement. That could hurt them down the line, but against the Seahawks, it shouldn't bother them too much. They beat the Seahawks rather handily. Of course, that game was in New Orleans earlier in the season. The Seahawks are 7-9, but in the playoffs, and that bothers a lot of people, particularly those in Tampa and in New Jersey, because the Bucs and the Giants both went 10-6, didn't get in to these playoffs. Those teams would give a much better game to the Saints than the Seahawks will. I think you'll see the Saints winning pretty handily. As we've come down the stretch of the season, we've seen that the Colts, who were 6-6, have won 4 in a row. They won every game they needed to get into the playoffs and win their division, a division they usually own. Now they face the Jets in a rematch of the AFC title game from last January. These teams are entirely different than they were back then, and the main difference, and it doesn't favor the Jets, is New York's defense is just not playing all that well. The Jets can't manufacture a pass rush. They have to try to use the blitz to do it, and when you're blitzing Peyton Manning, that's a dangerous game you're playing. I think the Colts are getting healthier. They found some balance on offense with a bit of a running game. The defense has improved a little bit too. I see the Colts winning this game. I don't think it will be a rout, but I think that they're headed to the next round. Baltimore always does seem to have a terrific defense, and this one's a pretty good one, but it has had a problem in that it's blown leads late in games. And when you get into the playoffs, and particularly against teams that can throw the ball, that's very dangerous. I think they match up very well with the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't have the experience that the Ravens have in the playoffs, and that could be a big difference here. I would expect that guys like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed will have one big game in them, and this will be that game. I think the Chiefs will be stoked early in the game, playing at home, first playoff game since 2003. But in the end, I think the Ravens will wear them down. The Ravens are pretty balanced on offense as well, and I see Baltimore moving on after this game. The Packers have a win over the Eagles this year, but it was in the opener. These teams have changed completely since then. Kevin Kolb was the starting quarterback back for the Eagles in the opener. Now, of course, it's Michael Vick, who's had a sensational comeback season. Aaron Rodgers will be running the show for Green Bay. This is a game where the two quarterbacks could really make a big difference. I know sometimes we overplay what quarterbacks do. They get too much credit, too much blame. Maybe not in this game. The Packers need to control Michael Vick, keep him from scrambling, keep him from dominating them on the ground, which he has done against so many teams. I think they're capable of doing that. They've got a pretty strong defense. It's a kind of defense that can make some big plays, force some turnovers. What will happen in this game, I think, is that the Packers will shut down Vick a little bit. Not entirely, but just enough for Aaron Rodgers, their own quarterback, to make the big difference. I think the Packers are one of those number 6 seeds that are going to be dangerous no matter who they play, and I really see them pulling off this upset in Philadelphia.